Here we go. Are you ready? All right, folks, it is Thursday night, 8:37. We're running about 7 minutes late for the show, but we're back on Thursday night, 7 minutes late, back on a regular night. I'm feeling pretty good about that. And we did a little promo. Threw it out there a little early, saying anybody wants to come discuss James Gunn, feel free to jump in. Because to me, guy's a dick. So we'll see where that goes. Mark seems to have a completely different impression, so it should be an interesting show for you. So it's John, Movie Killer Podcast. I got Mark, my co-host, with me as always, with the complete wrong opinion of what we're going to discuss. And then we will go from there.
Interesting opening statement. Like
You like that?
I feel like that's your opening argument, and then we're we're going to try a case here. But I don't think he's the way we describe a movie killer, based on our definition. I don't think he quite falls into that category as a whole. But I think if you narrow that focus to like certain areas of his body of work, like for example, since he's taken over DC, that's where I think you can make an argument. And that's what we're going to debate here, because you have access to the same data I do.
But yeah, I am interested. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you want to start off with his bio, or do you want to talk about get caught up on current events, current box office numbers?
Let's jump in with his bio, talk a little bit about him, see where it goes. And for anybody who's interested, it seems like we are live on YouTube tonight for the first time in a while. And we are hopefully live on Facebook, Instagram, and we're still working on that goddamn TikTok, trying to get our numbers up to where they need to be. So tonight we are talking about James Francis Gunn Jr., born August 5th, 1966, St. Louis, Missouri. Grew up in a suburb of Manchester, which I didn't know there was a Manchester, Missouri, so I learned that today. One of 5 siblings. And growing up, guess what his favorite movie was? Any ideas?
Give me a genre, and I'll guess.
Him and Zack Snyder wrote they adapted it to, they revised it later, but this was the original. You didn't do your homework. Night of the Living Dead was his favorite.
Well, they did Dawn of the
up.
Dead, right?
Yeah, they did Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. Which was...
And Friday the 13th. So the one thing him and I have in common, we like these low-budget horror movies.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got that. I'll give him that.
Okay.
All right. Decided to pursue a career in music. He was the lead singer of an indie rock band called the Icons. And then went to St. Louis University, graduated in 1984, and went on to finish his Master's of MFA. What's that? Master's of Finance, Master's of Film. I'm guessing in his place it's Master of Film at Columbia. So smart guy, smart dude. He broke into the movies with Trauma Entertainment, which I'm a big fan of trauma films and all the trauma craziness, but then we'll go from there. Stop there on his history.
So the interesting that his interesting story was he didn't want to be a director, from the start. It's weird. I mean, it's not that it's weird, but I find it common that, for those that, I didn't want to be an actor, and they turn out to be a really good actor. So, as we dig into some of these actors and their backgrounds, it's interesting, right? How their stories, like their origin stories kind of all have kind of a different starting point, and then they all seem to end up in Hollywood. But anyway, so James Gunn did not want to be a director in the beginning. He worked for Trauma Entertainment mainly as a screenwriter, so he wanted to be a novelist. But when he entered the film industry, he initially focused just on screenwriting. But before long, he eventually realized that directing allowed him to protect his creative vision. So that's why he got into directing, right? Like he's like, hey, I mean, just I can see that where, you're a screenwriter and you have like this image of the film in your head, everything, and you turn it over to a said director, and they do it, their own adaptation of what they think the material should look, on the big screen. So I think he had an issue with that. He was like, you know what, I think I could do this on my own, and he started directing, and of course the rest is history. It's funny that the fact that him and Zack Snyder collabed early on, and my personal opinion, I think Zack Snyder is a better director. Um, James Gunn might be a better a screenwriter, etc. But I think Zack Snyder is just he almost has like I compare Superman, like that's the one film that they both were charged of in terms, and they both got it, and they had to reboot the franchise. I just think Zack Snyder did a better job of showcasing Superman and staying true to kind of the original comic book character versus, whatever we saw last year in the 2025 version.
So it's pretty funny when you start, and we've done this with all the people we've talked about so far. When you go back and you start investigating, there's all these little crazy nuances and crazy little tidbits that you find, and it's, you see this stuff. So one of the things I wanted to look up is what's the relationship like between, Gunn and Snyder. And apparently the whole feud between the two and the differences of opinion they have is all manufactured. Like it just doesn't exist. And there's a lot of interviews that are out there where, and I didn't look up Zack Snyder interviews. I looked up a lot of James Gunn interviews where he talks about his relationship with Zack Snyder. And there's one clip I'll pull up and I'll show. It's short. It's only like 40 seconds. But even right up until Superman, which was originally supposed to be called Superman Legacy, I found an interview of James Gunn from 3 years ago where he talks about his 10-year plan with the DC universe. And for 3 years, he's made everything that he said he was going to make 3 years ago. Now, none of them did well, but he made them all, and they're all out there right along. He's following his plan. But, one of the things that you do when you're following a plan and the plan doesn't seem to be working, you got to pivot. Right. Yes. And it seems like he has not pivoted in any way. And I think that's a little bit of his ego getting in the way, saying, I know what I'm talking about and this is my world and I got my 10-year plan and I'm sticking to it. But there is a interesting where they asked Zack Snyder, what do you think about James Gunn? And he said, Gunn taking over the DC reins has been a great steward of that world. And then you talk about Gunn on Snyder, and he's like, Snyder's work has been a key creative influence and did excellent stuff with the DC world. So they're very complimentary of each other. So it seems like the relationship they have with Dawn of the Dead is still out there. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, but and that's the thing too. That screenplay that Gunn wrote for Dawn of the Dead, that essentially launched Zack Snyder's career. It did, right? I mean, that's 2004. Like everything that came after that, right? He had, I guess he had the, I don't know, cachet, if that's the right word, but that was his breakout film, and no wonder why he gives the guy a lot of credit. He basically,
You're talking about for Dawn of the Dead, or are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about Dawn of the Dead. I mean, Gunn wrote it, and Zack Snyder, that was his breakout film. So he has, I would be pretty thankful too if I'm Zack Snyder. I'm like,
well, it's interesting. I look at it as like, I'm Zack Snyder and you're James Gunn, right? Like I'm the dark, intelligent one, and you're like the comic relief. But so James Gunn, like Zack Snyder puts together these dark, gritty worlds, and Zack Snyder takes a little bit more creative nuance to what he does. James Gunn wants to stay very true to the comic, and that doesn't always translate well to the screen. Like we saw it with Masters of the Universe. People are over the whole cartoonish.
But do you believe that though? After watching Superman, you think James Gunn tried to stay true to the comic book? I think completely 100%. Opposite.
No, like he talks about in his interviews, like all the little stuff with crypto and how Supergirl grew up on this hunk of Krypton, and how like she watched people die around her, so she's very jaded.
Mm-hmm.
Now he wants to do this version of Batman with Robin, but there's a whole storyline of Batman where Robin is, and I forget I think it's like Damian Wayne, who is the true son of Bruce Wayne, but he's almost psychotic. Like he's an assassin. Like he goes around and kills people. So he wants to do this movie, but it's so true to the comic. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see, they want to see the Robin from Batman Begins, right? Or the Batman storyline with Christian Bale. Does anybody want to see Bruce Wayne chasing a psychopathic Robin around while Robin's trying to kill people? Just because there was a comic book that was out there that had that storyline, is it going to make money? Girl, like you got this dark, brooding, depressed girl. Like, no, they want to see what's her name, Christy Swanson or whatever her name is, flying around, bubbly and happy, like saving people. It's just, I don't know, it's very odd. But here, let me show you this. You'll appreciate this because I know how much you love Superman.
One of the biggest questions was, were we going to have trunks or we were going to, not have trunks? I talked to Zack Snyder, who was like, I tried a billion different versions with the trunks. And at the end of the day, I tried it, but I couldn't get there. And I was feeling exactly the same way. I went in with David. He tried in not trunks and he tried in trunks. And I still was going to go with not trunks. And then you said,
well, you wanted trunks in theory. You liked the idea of trunks.
Theoretically, I liked the idea of trunks because it's, Superman I grew up with.
But the problem is they look kind of silly. And my thing was just maybe they're supposed to look a little silly. Maybe the reason he wears them
Christopher Reeve looked a little awesome.
Silly, basically to undermine how powerful he really is.
Can I say something? Who gives a fuck, right? Like I don't say the F word on this show very often, but when these two, the biggest debate they're having with that piece of shit movie is whether or not Superman has trunks on. After Henry Cavill looks so good in the outfit that he had, just stay with it. Who cares whether Superman has trunks on?
Yeah, like I think when you're, and we would probably never understand this because their creative juices are probably on next level, right? Because they're and also they have the ability to execute that creativity, in a motion picture. We do not. But to your point, though, something as trivial as trunks. I mean, like, who cares? Just suit up and go.
Right. How about you spend a little bit more time on the dog, right? Make the dog a little bit.
I know the dog was in the comic books, but I don't know. Do a spin-off on like do that on Netflix, like streaming, right? Like a little less serious, kind of like, remember Smallville?
Yeah.
Like do that. I don't want to see the dog on a motion picture. Like it's just like, it was so disappointing.
You. But you got trunks. So there was seems like he called Zack Snyder. He was so worried about it. He's Zack, buddy. Do I go with the trunks? Like, this is the kind of stupid shit that keeps this guy up all night. So the other piece that's interesting, and you mentioned Smallville, I'm going to pivot into this. And I'm taking it personally. So you take it for however you want. I'm so dumb.
Before you say something, before you say that, before you make your comment, are you a Zack Snyder fan or not a Zack Snyder fan?
I like certain Zack Snyder movies. I like what he did with the whole Batman in the desert, like the Armageddon Batman, whatever they call it. They call it something. Okay. Like, I like his twist and take on things. I love Dawn of the Dead. I thought Dawn of the Dead was fantastic. But I like certain Zack Snyder things, just like I like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I loved Guardians of the Galaxy when that came out. It doesn't mean I like everything that James Gunn does. Like, I thought Suicide Squad was a big piece of shit. But I loved Penguin. But Penguin was primarily done by the Matt Reeves Bat universe, right? So, I don't know. I like, look, dude, I love everything that Brad Pitt does. I like Channing Tatum as a doofus. I loved Ben Affleck in The Town and in The Accountant, but he's also has a bunch of shitty roles. So, do I like Zack Snyder? I like certain things he does, but I don't like everything he does, just like I don't like everything that James Gunn does. Nobody's going to bat 1,000. Nobody. So you just got to have more wins than losses.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to hear why James Gunn thinks I'm dumb?
Okay. Yeah, let's hear it.
So James Gunn thinks that the world is so dumb that you can't figure out what his storyline is compared to everybody else's storyline when it comes to DC. So what he wants to do is, and he's doing it, he's going to tag his universe, the DC universe, the DCU. Everybody else's is DC Elseworld. So if you want to do something with DC, as him being president of DC or co-president, you have to tag your body of work DC Elseworld. So somewhere, Matt Reeves, when he came out with the Batwoman was pretty good. I know you liked it too. He has to tag that DC Elseworld so that the general public knows that that's outside of the storylines that James Gunn is trying to create with his DC universe. So he has his Superman stories. He has all his stuff, but like the Penguin, DC Elseworld, not part of it. But Lanterns, which is coming out, is part of it. So Lanterns is DCU. But then you go back and you're like, Joker is DC Elseworld. It's not part of it. Dude, it's so ridiculous that like Teen Titans Go, which is a cartoon, and the Harley Quinn animated series, they have to be tagged DC Elseworld so that nobody in the world confuses that the Harley Quinn cartoon may somehow be part of James Gunn's DC universe. Like that arrogance.
That's insanity.
Irks me. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But if I have
like this guy,
but I'm saying if you're like a Snyder type and then you're just as talented, like, okay, I can do it elsewhere. I have no problems.
Right. I don't think Matt Reeves gives two shits about it. Yeah. Right. Like Matt Reeves is like, all right, fine. The Batman did well. How's Superman doing?
Yeah.
Dude, there's an old YouTube series. It's old. Like it's probably 10 plus years. If anybody wants to go find it, it's great. It's called Marvel versus DC. And it's a guy takes action figures and does stop motion interaction between the DC characters and the Marvel characters. And there's one scene where like Spider-Man comes out, and this is the
Do you
time
have this
like,
clip?
I don't have this clip. I should have pulled it down. It's so
that
great.
would, yeah.
I'll try to get it before the show's over.
Okay.
Where like Spider-Man is like telling what a great weekend he had because they just blew up the box office with his movie. And then it's like Superman 4 or something. I forget what Superman is out there, but Superman did not do well. Mm-hmm. And Batman's sitting there, and Spider-Man's like, "What's the matter with this guy?" And Superman's like face down on the bar, and they're like, and Batman's like, "He had a rough weekend." Right? Like it's so witty. It's so
this had to be a long time ago.
Oh yeah, it's old. It's like 10,
Christopher
12.
Reeve Superman.
Yeah, let me see if I can find a date on it. But they're all on YouTube, and there's probably 50 of them. Like there's a ton of little short clips, and it's all Marvel versus DC.
Yeah.
And the Green Goblin is the best. Like the Green Goblin is just a total ball buster to everybody. And Lex Luthor runs the bad guys. The Green Goblin and Lex Luthor are always fighting and bickering about shit. Oh, it's so funny. Marvel versus DC.
Yeah, I did hear about it, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
Yeah. As we go through, I'll try to find it. Oh man. So let's talk numbers, because I know you don't believe the numbers. So
I do believe the numbers. That's the crazy, not even crazy part. That's the reality part. Like his numbers, again, I know you're going to say, hey, let's take out Guardians of the Galaxy, but he spent like 10, 20 years developing, like he wrote it and directed that. And for those that are listening, I am not a James Gunn fan, but he did an outstanding job with Guardians of the Galaxy. 3 movies, his trilogy, it did a lot of numbers. I mean, yeah, he's had a couple early bombs in his career, but his name is synonymous with Guardians, right? And that's really how he got this, the bigwig position at DC, and because of Guardians made a lot of money.
Yeah, so I look at it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's hard to take that out of the like his body of work, because that represented a huge chunk, and it's not like he was like just a director that they hired. No, he wrote this film. He wrote the trilogy and directed it. So I mean, I give him credit for that. But outside of that, I'm not a fan of his work because his Guardians of the Galaxy, like his blueprint, his DNA, it also, you see it in other films that he's oversaw. And I don't want to see another Guardians film. I don't want to see that element in Superman. It just looks tacky. And then the whole Superman fighting those big blobs was like extra tacky. Like it just, I don't remember seeing that in the comic books. And maybe I glossed over it, but to me, it's just not, especially when we just got weaned off of, Man of Steel and Justice League and Superman versus Batman, like that's the Superman that was kind of ingrained in the last,
right.
Better part of the last decade. Then you see this guy with his dog, and I'm not anti-dog, but just keep the dog in Smallville.
Yeah. It's like a dog on a plane, right? When you get on the plane, I love dogs. Like, with the animal shelter, like I've had dogs my whole life. But when I get on a plane and I sit down, I don't want a dog sitting next to me, right? So I'm with you. Like I love dogs, but don't put it in the movie unless it's about a dog. Like if it's a movie about a dog, then great.
Yes. And I'll watch it and I'll appreciate it.
Yeah. Like Kevin Bacon with that little dog. I can't remember the name of it when he's got the Jack Russell Terrier. I cried for 10 minutes at the end of that stupid movie.
Oh, but speaking, you just reminded me where it works. The Mask, the little Jack Russell in The Mask.
Yeah, that was good.
That's where it works.
That.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a sidekick.
Yes.
Yeah. Dungeon Crawler Carl, Princess Donut. Got a cat running around. Right? He's got a cat.
Yes.
All right. So James Francis Gunn, he's made about 25, 26 movies between writing, directing, producing, and DC, like his total population of movies. I don't know if you can consider him a success when 3, and I'm only going to give him 3, and I'll explain why it's not 4, of the 25 made money for him. And the 4th one, folks, is Avengers Endgame, where he was an executive producer. But it's the last one in a stream of movies that made a tremendous amount of dough, where they're going to be like, hey, Jimmy, you want to be an executive producer on this thing? Like, I would take every penny I had and drop it into that. Like, that's a no-brainer. He gets no credit for that. True. But out of the other 25 movies, he's only had 3 real successes, and those are the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy.
Yeah.
Maybe Scooby-Doo. Maybe Scooby-Doo.
It's interesting that you brought that up because was it Scooby-Doo or Scooby-Doo 2? But I think he was the only writer at the time that had back-to-back number ones. I have it somewhere here in my notes, but I found that interesting.
But if you give him his start, and look, everybody starts rough. His first movie called The Specials, which the premise is great. It's a bunch of heroes who are like on their day off, right? And it's them, they're sitting around bitching on their day off. It's pretty interesting. Cost them $1 million to make. It only made $11,000. Returned $11,000. That's an extreme limited release. Then you got Scooby-Doo, did pretty well. Dawn of the Dead, which everybody loved. But even Dawn of the Dead, $26 million budget, when it was released, only made $100 million. So it's not like it crushed the box office, but had a lot of success and a lot of attention. Then you go into Slither, piece of shit, 15 million, only made 12. Super, 2.5 million, only made 400. Super, I'm sorry, I think is the one where it's the superheroes on their day off. Maybe. I got to go back and look at it. Guardians of the Galaxy blew it up. The Belko experiment, 5 million, only made 11. Then you got Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Infinity Wars and Endgame. Boom, boom, back to back. Brightburn, I actually really enjoyed Brightburn. So am I a James Gunn fan? No, but I really liked Brightburn. Suicide Squad did shit. And then you got Coyote versus Acme, which has been shelved since 2023. And they're trying to get it released now at some point in 26, maybe 27. So you got a movie that cost $70 million to make that's been sitting on the shelf for 3+ years because nobody wants to release it. So that's James Gunn. That's the guy who is the co-president of DC, arguably, one of the intellectual property, tremendous value, because he had three 3 good movies and had good timing to executive produce 2 surefire hits.
Yeah, I mean that's actually that's a pretty strong argument. And I yeah, and then put it this way, that you can work that angle for sure. I mean, so like when it matters, like it matters the most now because he's got the most, right? He's got the most juice, right, ever in his entire career, and he's got basically an open checkbook. But it hasn't really been there hasn't been a success story yet, and not in DC, not since he's taken over. So yeah, I would agree with you there. Oh, so I did find it. So he was the first screenwriter to have 2 consecutive box office #1 movies, and it happened back in 2004. So Scooby-Doo 2 and Dawn of the Dead. So both reached the top of the box office in consecutive weeks. So making Gunn basically the first screenwriter to achieve that milestone. See, that's what I'm saying. If he just, I don't want to say, hey, stick to screenwriting because, I mean, Guardians just totally blows that up. But to your point, when it matters the most, and right now it matters the most, especially for DC, the numbers they're not there. So that would be the argument.
How do I? Okay. Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting is now that we pivot back to, let's get rid of the stuff he wrote, produced, everything, and let's focus on co-head of DC, right?
Yes.
So, and I have a really good clip. I'll show you bits and pieces of it, but the clip is like 7 minutes long, so I'm not going to show you the whole thing. But he outlines his whole plan of what he wants to do for DC for the next 10 years. And it's really interesting to watch. But he came out and he's like, I'm going with Shazam, right? Shazam is my starting point, and that's what I'm going with. All right, Jimmy, 125 million. It only made 134 million worldwide. All right, I get it. We're going to go with The Flash. Flash is next. Now, he also, in the middle of this, he did some releases into direct to video. So he has one that is Waller, which is based on the woman who recruits the heroes for Suicide Squad, who was head of CIA or whatever her secret organization was. So that is one thing that he did that only released 8 episodes, didn't make any money. They needed another one called like Commandos and Heroes or something. I can't remember the name of that. That only did 8 episodes, never got picked back up, never did anything. So in addition to the movies that I'm talking about, he also had a couple of releases of shows. His most successful show to this point has been Peacemaker. And I think John Cena was, did a great job of just being crazy. But that has been his most successful TV release. We'll call that a TV series. Okay. So after Flash, he did Blue Beetle, 104 million, only made 129. Then Aquaman, coming off a huge success, he came in and did Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, 205 million, only made 440. So didn't get its money back. Joker, huge success. He comes in and says, well, I'll pick up Joker Part 2. 190 million, only made 206, lost money. Superman, your favorite, 2025, 225 million, made 615. So if you go with the law of 2.5 times, didn't break even, right? 450, another 200 on top. He's about 40 million or $40,000 short of breaking even there. And now he's released Superman Woman of Tomorrow, which up to this point cost almost 185 million. It's only made 117.
Yeah.
So every movie he has released as his co-head of DC, every one.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. So you know what? There you go. That is my argument. So has James Gunn hurt the Superman brand and the broader DC brand despite having like really historical success? That's the crazy part, right? Like before DC, you could make a very strong argument. Actually, not even strong argument. It's a fact that he was a successful director, like hands down, right? Move him into that CEO of basically the DC franchise, hasn't produced. That's the argument.
Creature Commandos was the name of the movie I was the name of the the TV series I was trying to think of that had an 8-series release and never did anything. Creature Command.
And you know how I'm all over the whole Superman thing, the Man of Steel, because I still think that's probably one for me top 3 DC films all time. Batman Begins was obviously that was up there too. So between those two films, it's a toss up for me. So both of these directors, Snyder and Gunn, were given the opportunity to reboot the franchise, right? That's a fact.
Yep.
So in 2013, Man of Steel, this is the interesting part. The 2013 version, Man of Steel, the budget was $225. It grossed $670. So the ROI was just shy of 3x, right? It was like 2.99x.
Yep.
By comparison, James Gunn, Superman 2025, same exact budget, $225, and a worldwide gross of $619 million. Right, so that's about a $51 million differential between Man of Steel 2013 and Superman 2025. And somebody listening will be like, all right, that's no big deal. You're in love with Zack Snyder, Man of Steel. I'm like, but hold on a second. This is 2013. So if you factor in inflation, which is real, right? And I actually had to look this up. With the inflation, if you factor in inflation of 1.383, the 2013 gross dollars of $670 becomes $927 in 2025 dollars.
Right.
So that's, to me, like if you're really going to compare the value that the movie actually brought, and you factor in inflation, it's closer to a $300 million differential between the two films in buying capacity. So that tells you right there, like, yes, it made $619, but you factor in inflation. I don't think it's close to what, Man of Steel earned, at the time. I mean, this was 12 years prior to Superman 2025 come out. So that, to me, that was and I knew it was like, I was like, man, these numbers just don't sound right. But, when you factor in the different, they were more than a decade apart, you see the difference, and it's pretty significant.
Yeah. And I think part of the problem is exactly what you said. Henry Cavill is doing a pretty good job. James Gunn and, can't think of his partner's name, the co-president, came in and said, we're going to reboot this universe.
Right.
But the problem is you already have a Superman who has some Peter Safran, I'm sorry, is the other president.
Yes.
You have this Superman that has some level of success. Why do you have to go in and just redo everything and basically tell a lot of the same story over again? That's already been done with Christopher Reeve and Henry Cavill and now this other guy. It's been done multiple times. Then you have Batman with Batman Begins, and you got your Ben Affleck Batman and your Clooney Batman. Then you got Robert Pattinson, who's doing a pretty good job. And James Gunn comes in and says, you know what? That's the other world. I'm going to do Batman. Now he's in the process of recasting another Batman while they're getting ready to put together Batman 2 that's going to be in the Matt Reeves universe. And James Gunn is like, you know what? But I own Batman. I'm DC. I'm going to do it my way. And now there's talks that it might be Chris Pratt because he's trying to steal Chris Pratt to come over.
As Batman?
As Batman.
Oh, that's a mistake right there.
Yeah, but why do it again? Like, let Matt Reeves have his success. Let the Penguin do its thing. Let Clayface come out and be part of that same universe. Like, why do you have to put your mark on anything? Go focus on somebody else. Dude, imagine 10 years ago or whatever, if you had 3 different versions of Iron Man, 2 different Thors, 4 different, you know what I mean? 4 different whatevers. 4 different Captain Americas. You're going to be like, what the hell is going on in this world? And why am I watching this shit? But that's the problem with DC. They can't just leave it alone. There's so much ego. They got to put their own mark on it. It's a sinking ship. Let somebody come in and just be like, you know what? We're going to pick something that nobody's done before, and we're going to go figure out how to do it. And it ain't going to be The Rock as Black Adam. Right.
Yeah.
Let's come up with something else.
Yeah, I think that's right on. And it's just applicable to DC because I don't think Marvel's has done any reboots of any kind with
No,
their.
the closest thing was Fantastic Four, where there was like two different casts of Fantastic Four.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
like, it's like one time, right? It's like, okay, we're going to try to recast this and do it again. We didn't really like the way that story was going, but the story's completely different. And there's been a couple Doctor Dooms, and I know everybody's waiting to see Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, but they follow the same storylines. Like they don't create all new storylines that have nothing to do with each other. You know, even the Hulk, if you go back to Ed Norton Hulk and what's his name, Eric Bana, they reference those stories in the other Marvel movies that are forward. Like they don't go back and act like they don't exist. They're just different guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Even though that character was redone 3 times, I mean they didn't have to do a redo movie.
Right.
And tell a slightly different story as an origin
they just
story.
pick it up later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, they should just put us in charge and get out of the way and let us do our thing.
See, if I was in charge, I would pivot to the Star Wars Old Republic and I would make an absolute killing. You know what? I would say, guys, we are going to be the first to gross $2 billion. And I would focus on the Old Republic. And can you imagine though? Like, I mean, you know, Star Wars made a ton of money, especially when they, with, what was the first movie?
New Hope?
The New Hope. Yeah. Right. Like that garnered so much like attention and, you know, because we were waiting forever for a Star Wars prequel to come out or any new Star Wars movie. But can you imagine if the Old Republic came out? Oh my God. And it's more, you know, it's kind of like almost rated R or make it rated R or PG-13. I don't know.
Dark, yes. Gritty, bloody, yes. You know,
violent.
I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a war. I want violence. I choose violence in my movie.
Let me see.
That would be pretty sick.
Yeah. It'd be great. People are older now. They're more mature. Like, you know, 13, 14-year-old kids with the internet, they're seeing things that we didn't see till we were 20.
Yes, they're numb. They're numb to that type of. I'm not talking about like sadistic violence. I'm just talking about, you know, war. Like,
yeah, they're numb to all that shit.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I can upload an image. When I was growing up on Saturday mornings and they used to have the Justice League, like, I loved the Justice League. I would get up when they had the Legion of Doom and they floated around in their skull and they used to fight and do all this crazy shit. And then, like, I always wanted to be Green Lantern. Like, I used to be like, I want the ring and I want to be Green Lantern and like, this is how it's going to be. And like, let me see if this opens up. And then Superman comes out. Can you see this on your screen?
Yeah.
This is the friggin' doofus that they put in place to be the Green Lantern with that stupid haircut. And he's almost like he's a bumbling doofus. And this is the guy that's the Green Lantern in the Superman movie that James Gunn is responsible for. I was so disappointed in how much opportunity they had to make the Green Lantern just the coolest guy on the planet. And they put this guy in the character and they just let the other heroes just basically made fun of him the whole time, right? The Hawk Girl made fun of him. Everybody made fun of him. Green Lantern is badass. He can do whatever he wants with that ring. And I got to look at this. So freaking disappointing.
That had to be the worst superhero movie. I'm trying to think of anything worse than that because I say it's the worst because the budget was incredible. They got a lot of marketing and it's Superman. Like he's like the apex superhero in DC, right? Like there isn't anybody above Superman. And then you put this material out and then you got a guy that looks like Mo from the Three Stooges that's blended with, you know, I don't know. He looked kind of like, what's his name from Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah. Yeah, like Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
That stupid haircut.
Yeah, it was like a hybrid. Yeah, it was terrible. I almost forgot about that guy. But seriously, when I was in the movie theater, I was so tempted to walk out. I was like, I was like, okay, maybe it gets better. And it just kept getting worse and worse.
Yeah, disappointing.
Yeah.
All right, so I can show you The Lanterns, which is the new movie, the new series that's coming out.
I haven't
the trailer.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the trailer for that yet.
All right, let's go with that, and then we'll do another James Gunn clip, and then we'll go from there. All right, so folks, this is the new Lantern series that's coming out, and it's a little dark. Has some potential.
It's the greatest weapon in the universe.
When and if to use it, that's the whole ball game, Junior.
Did you just use that ring to counterfeit money?
No.
Tell me how you got it. The ring.
You know how I got it. I sure as hell didn't interview for it.
Al Jordan.
Shit, maybe you should have. Power like that, shouldn't you have to work for it?
I've been doing this since you were a baby. And the only way you're gonna get this ring is over my dead fucking body.
I think he likes me. Everybody is lying to us.
You're not leaving here until we find out what they're hiding. Danger's part of the job. You need to be fearless.
How are you chosen for this?
It's only one question. Are you afraid? You afraid?
Are you afraid?
There's the doofus.
Are you afraid? Are you afraid?
I was raised fearless, and I'll do this better than he's ever done it before.
Then go and get it, Jon Stewart.
Good trailer, right?
It was good. I mean, it wasn't like at the edge of your seat, good, but I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, I'll give it a couple episodes to see how it does.
Sure. Green Lantern. He's basically Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. Just a little, like he worked out and he got a new role. That's sad.
It's the greatest hero in the universe, and that's what we got to deal with.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. So we can go into another clip. Got a little bit more data if you want to talk about data. Let's see what we got. So I got fascinated. I went down this Matt Reeves rabbit hole because I was like, man, they should give that guy some opportunity within the James Gunn universe. And then I'm always worried, not worried, but I think, is James Gunn somehow threatened by this guy's success? But then you don't know how supportive these guys are or anything else. But if you take Reeves' focus on Batman with Colin Farrell did a great job as the Penguin, all the characters that came down, Jeffrey Wright is, as Lieutenant Gordon, he's lieutenant at this point. He's not commissioner yet. 200. This guy's he's made a lot of movies, Matt Reeves. But his first kind of foray. His first foray into the Batman world. But he did all the Cloverfield movies, if you guys need to know who he is. So he also did a couple of the Planet of the Apes movies. So he's got some credentials behind him as writer and director and producer. He also broke into Hollywood doing this Under Siege 2, which was part of the whole Steven Seagal nonsense. But Cloverfield and Planet of the Apes is what he's known for. But then he goes into Batman, and Batman just crushes it, man. $200 million budget, and it came up almost $800 million. But it's part of this elsewhere, so they're already making Batman 2. But then they spun off into the Penguin, and there's a couple other spinoffs. They're talking about maybe doing something with the Riddler.
Yeah, maybe we do a comparison of DC Universe versus DC Elsewhere, and let's see if Elsewhere comes out on top, because I think it does.
I think it does too. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Once he took over DC, when it mattered the most, are you able to produce? And dead answer. And then we're 4 movies in, and it's been no. 4 or 5 movies now.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies in. You got Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, Lost Kingdom, Joker, Folie à Deux, Superman, and Supergirl. Yeah, 7 movies from his world. Plus, you got the 2 series that he did, the Commando, whatever, that only had 8 episodes and never got picked up again, and then Waller, which only had 8 episodes and never went anywhere else. So yeah, he's not doing so well.
No, and I don't know how long these executives last at that position. It's not going to be forever.
You know what the average tenure of a CIO is?
I go ahead, tell me.
I don't know. It goes anywhere from 18 months to 2 years, depending on the day.
But I'm not this. I want to know the average tenure for a CEO at a
movie studio.
At a studio. We should probably look that up. All right. So Supergirl has grossed roughly 115. You said this earlier, right?
Yep.
And the budget was reported to be about 200 million. Oof. Remember that the Instagram post that I sent? Yeah. Which they were saying, hey, she looks like I can't unsee that at this point. Like, it
was a little rough.
Yeah.
Folks, everybody, there's an Instagram post that Mark sent over where basically it's comparing Millie Alcox to like all these different people in movies. And the one that kind of sticks with you is the feral kid from Mad Max. And if you put them side by side, I mean, that's a little rough, but the movie itself is not good.
Yeah. The other one was the creature thing in, dude, I'm going way back. Land of the Lost. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That series?
Chaka. Yeah, I love Land of the Lost.
I can't believe somebody actually pulled that out of the archives and used that as as part of the meme. This is who she... That's rough.
You want to hear a great story? So, like, everybody knows from multiple episodes, I am a huge Danny McBride fan.
Yes.
So Danny McBride had the opportunity to be in The Hangover, and he turned down The Hangover because he wanted to shoot Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell. So Land of the Lost and The Hangover both get released the same weekend. And in his words, The Hangover came out and just absolutely kicked our ass. So he's sitting there on opening weekend with this Will Ferrell comedy, watching The Hangover, which he turned down, just crush him on the weekend. Like, I love that story. He never said what role, though. He never said what role he turned down, but I'm guessing it's got to be like the Zach Galifianakis role. I can't imagine him as Bradley Cooper, but yeah, he turned it down.
I mean, that almost reminds me of some of the roles that A-listers that they turned down. I think it was Matt Damon. Was it Matt Damon? Yes. Do you know about this? Like, so, who was the Avatar director?
James Cameron.
James Cameron.
Yeah.
The guy that he wanted to play Scully, Jack Scully, right?
Yeah.
The main Avatar.
Yeah.
Was
Dark
Matt
Scully.
Damon. Yes. It was Matt Damon. And he was like,
I don't know that it would have been as good.
Come on.
He's too well known. His face is too recognizable. They needed that kind of secondary market actor, I think.
Yeah, but okay. Being that it's Matt Damon, I know you're like have a bromance with Matt Damon.
Yeah. Love him.
I said that about Matt Damon because I think he's overexposed, him in The Odyssey. I think he has it. There's no way I would have went with Matt Damon in that role for Odyssey. Because he's just overexposed.
I agree.
Mean, he was just like, a couple months ago, right? He was pulling off a heist. Now he's
him and Affleck.
Yeah. It's way too overexposed. But anyway, yeah, you might be right. But and he would lament over that to say, he was like, he offered me, a good salary. Plus he had some, backdoor money. Basically it would have been like, over $350-400 million. I don't know if that was the single film or the first two films, but basically it was a ton of money that he didn't make because he opted not to. And I forget what he chose instead. I want to say it was The Wall.
Oh, I like The Wall. I'm like the one guy alive who liked The Wall. Pedro Pascal.
No, I know, but I'm saying though from a resume standpoint and from a earning standpoint, The Wall versus Avatar.
Oh yeah, you can't even compare.
Right,
you can't even compare. Yeah, but I'm saying maybe Avatar would have been a flop if he was in it. Maybe it wouldn't. The chemistry was there. You know what I mean? Like that was really good chemistry between those guys.
It's hard to. It's funny, right? It's hard to see somebody else playing that role.
Yeah.
That's why when that last Spider-Man Homecoming, when all the 3 Spider-Mans were on it, it was kind of cool. Like,
I loved it.
Yeah, right. You see the multiverse come together, and you see every, the different movies that we watched them in, and they're all kind of in this, in the same, sharing the screen. It was like,
that's why Marvel's so good, right? Because they're like, hey, we switched up our actors, but let's twist it around and bring them all together. And we just accepted that we did it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, I think I got our next bet. Now that I won, $18 million off Masters of the Universe.
It
was like $15. $15.
Okay.
I got the next bet. So to your question before, what's the average tenure of a studio president? The average tenure of a studio president is about 5 years. And the reason they say that is for the first 2 years, they're inheriting a pipeline of movies that have already been made. Then they have to start during that 2 years while they inherit this pipeline, they start doing their own creative component. Then it takes about 2 years for movies to be made.
Okay.
And then their movies start going out, and then they start seeing what the return is. And they're like, okay, this person's got it or they don't. So they said 5 years is about average, just to give them the opportunity to actually put their stamp on the studio. So James Gunn came into the head of DC in 2022. He's been there 3 years, 8 months. Here's my bet. And if we're still on the air, he does not make the 5 year mark. Maybe the over under. Like I'll give the over under like maybe 5 years.
Did you say
6 months?
You said the average tenure is 5 years, you said, right?
Yeah. 5 years.
And you said
3 years, 8 months.
3 years, 8 months. Okay.
3 years, 8 months.
You don't think he makes it to 5 years? I think he makes it to 5 years. I think he doesn't get renewed. I don't know if he signed a 5 year contract, right? Is that how it works? Yeah.
I guess. But I'm saying he doesn't. I'm thinking 5.5, right? I'll give him maybe just over 5, but he's not making more. There's no way these guys can keep giving him shot after shot after shot, just wasting their money. So
who was his predecessor?
I don't know.
Let's see.
Who was head of DC?
Walter Hamada.
Yeah, no idea who that is. But look at his time.
Yeah.
4 years. He was only there 4 years.
Wow.
And the person before that was only there a year.
Yeah.
4 years. And he was responsible for Joker, Batman, original Aquaman. Like
yeah, I mean, so James Gunn took over in November 2022. So by next year, November 2027, they should be parting. Years. Yeah, they should be parting ways. So you ask if I think he makes it. I think he makes the 5 year mark.
All right. So I'll give the over under to January 1, 2028. Yeah. So you got like a 2 month buffer there from November and December into January.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he doesn't make it.
Yeah.
Because
So
these are,
I'll throw that up.
Yeah. It's a lot of money that he's been. See, that's the thing. When it matters the most, did he deliver? And right now, he has not been delivering.
Yeah.
You know where he would rather be?
Reading comic books.
No.
That's where he would rather be.
He would rather be elsewhere.
It's terrible.
No, that's good.
Terrible.
You had a bunch of these quips last week. This is my turn.
Yeah, mine were good.
Maybe.
All right, so I got a couple other clips. So I'm not going to play all the clips. Guys, if you want to watch a bunch of James Gunn interviews, he's all over YouTube. Just do a search for James Gunn interviews, and I'll try to throw on the website or something. I'll try to get some links on our Facebook page or something on the Marvel vs. DC, because it is worth seeing, and especially if you're listening to this podcast, you probably enjoy Marvel and DC stuff, so you'll enjoy those. They're very witty, very funny. All right, you want to go into your sleeper? We're going to go into the sleeper pick. We beat up James Gunn. He sucks. He's killing the DC. I don't care what anybody else says. His movies don't make money. The data speaks for itself. And I will bet against any DC movie that he's responsible for in the near term.
Yes. So yes, he is the main man at DC, and he is tarnishing the brand as we know it. And we expect him out by January 1st, 2028.
Yes.
Mark it down. Okay, so my sleeper pick is The Gentleman Thief with Johnny Travolta.
I love John Travolta.
Yeah. He's rocking like a fresh lid in this movie. I don't know if you have that trailer.
Yeah, I got it. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
This wasn't really
Thief.
Yeah, this wasn't really my pick. It's Cam's pick. Like Cam is good with ferreting this stuff out. I'm just like, what? Like, I'm just waiting for the Old Republic trailers to finally hit. I'll be sitting here waiting. For those that are listening, that are creative and they can use 11 Lab or whatever AI, do it. Yeah. I'm waiting. I'll pay money. Maybe we do that.
I'm gonna save my pick for next week because we're at the hour. Let's get through your picks and then we'll recap. But I have such a good one. I hope it doesn't pick up steam before next week. My pick is so good.
It's probably horror related, but
it's not. For the first time, I think my pick is not horror related.
Okay, so
at all.
So that deserves like an episode on its own. So that's fine.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Uh-huh.
So, did you miss it?
Miss what?
Being one of the world's greatest art thieves.
Do you?
You and me,
we're
made to steal stuff. I'm retired. Come on, Mason. I'm your little brother. Let me take you on a vacation. Okay, where are we going?
Welcome to Miami.
Mason!
Hey, that's the family. That means you're my family.
Why are we here, Sean? We're here for an art heist. There's a painting valued at over $100 million.
100 mil.
And it's being stored on that yacht. You need this, Mason. You need to get your mojo back. Let's have some fun.
Mason Goddard rises from the dead. I've been waiting for this day. Salud.
All we do is swoop in,
The crew are in place on the yacht.
grab the painting, and then we vanish. Easy money. Please don't say that. This is all part of my plan. 3D chess. I think you mean 4D chess. 3D chess is already what chess is. Let's get it.
The most respected thief in the game against the most dangerous man in the world.
I see you haven't lost your touch.
You caught that.
Looks good.
Yet another heist flick.
Yeah, another heist flick. Put Kamala in charge of DC. She always has good picks. Got a good eye.
Yes.
And you know what? Rebecca De Mornay looking really good in that. She's like 80. She looked phenomenal in that. Gotta love Hollywood.
Yeah, she is up there.
Yeah, she looked good.
Yeah.
And then Lucas Haas, he's the Haas. He's been in a ton of movies. He always plays that really good sidekick. Like he's the good sidekick role.
This is the only part that that's going to hurt it financially. Well, not hurt it, but limit its ability to really generate revenue. So it debuts on like that digital video on demand July 28th. So basically end of the month, followed by a limited theatrical release July 31st.
Okay.
So, I don't know if it's going to be a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't want to, they're going to probably do it dirty like they did Frankenstein, where they released it for 2 weeks and they're like, all right, just straight to video.
Well, the other thing that's interesting on this is the sequel to a movie this guy did. What's his name? Randall Emmett, who's the director. He did a movie last year called High Rollers. So this is the sequel to High Rollers, but it's exactly what you said. So they did a very small theatrical release and then they jumped it right into video. But apparently it did really, really well on video. So it's, I guess he's just going to follow the same model.
Yeah.
Bring in a star, quick shooting, low budget, and see where it goes.
Yeah, and speaking of, I was looking for the reported budget for this, and they're saying a lot of people are saying it's undisclosed, but I found one report that it's about $30 million, and like how much of that was Travolta's salary,
right?
So it's a relatively low budget movie. I mean, it was just at a beach house and a yacht and some ocean with DJ Khaled.
Yeah, love DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
So apparently the prequel, the one before that, they did for about $3 million. Didn't make any money in the box office, but made its money back on video. So I guess he's taking all that money and just trying to. He bumped up his budget. Went with Travolta.
There you go.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, throw more money at it and see what happens.
Wish somebody would throw some money at us. Give us a shot. I'm begging. Give us a shot. We can do great.
I think I can write probably at least one motion picture of the Old Republic. There's not a lot of data. I mean, there's material out there, but I don't think there's enough continuous material to, I mean, the storyline would have to be adapted. No adaptation. It's just like all original, but based on, these characters and some of the limited timelines that that have been published. But dude, I'm telling you, when somebody figures it out, you're going to say, holy hell, you were right, dude. $2 billion.
Doesn't the Mandalorian Grogu thing scare you? Like it didn't do
no,
well.
Because dude, that was overexposed. They had their, 3 seasons of that, right? Like no one wants to see that.
Right.
Like that's like watching Smallville, the motion picture. And we talked about this. This is like watching David Duchovny in, what's the damn movie?
X-Files.
X-Files. Yeah.
Why don't we do next week? Why don't we do our Star Wars episode next week? We can check everybody's availability.
We might have
your Old Republic.
Yes. And we could run some of those short films that, these independent studios put together. They're insanely good. Yes, I think that's a good one. Maybe we invite what's his name? That Matt guy. He's a big Star Wars fan.
Invite Matt, get Birch in here.
Yeah, there you go.
Then their families and friends will listen, then we actually get a couple listeners.
Yeah, we'll have like a quartet of folks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll find those I have them. My Old Republic, and maybe that would spur some studio, independent or major studio, to say, hey, actually they can't do it, right? I mean, it's all.
Why can't they?
Because it's actually, you're right. I wonder if Lucas sold the rights to Star Wars and that stuff implied the Old Republic stuff. I don't know.
I think it's all of it. I think it's all gone.
That's
People
terrible.
write books. They do like all these crazy independent books all around the content. You go in the bookstore, there's walls of Star Wars books now.
Yeah.
So
there's a way
all
to
right.
do this.
Yeah.
There's a way to AI this.
I agree.
I get sued. But like,
so what?
Yeah.
If it gets out there and you get a lot of attention, then you get your own independent deal. Give them the money back for whatever you made from the success, and then go make another one.
I don't think that's how it works, Johnny.
How's it work?
I think I think I get imprisoned first. Then I have to write about a book on what made me do it. And
why
are
you going to go to prison?
Because that's all copywritten material. That's right. That's, dude, you can't do that. That property, that intellectual property is owned.
Yeah. Nobody goes to jail anymore. There's no fear out there. Worst case, you just give them the money back. I saw this quote today that said, somewhere there's a guy unlawfully imprisoned who's tossing another guy's salad, and don't ever think you're having a bad day at work or something like that. I was like, so your day at work is not so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, I love that. That's so funny.
That is true.
Yeah. A lot of people cringing out there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, my day's not so bad because I'm way too pretty to go to jail. Remember that?
Uh-huh. All right. That was a different episode.
Yeah.
We went after a director this time, and we did it because I felt like it was warranted, because he's wrecking the DC universe with his ego, his arrogance, his Guardians of the Galaxy DNA mojo that he can't let go of. Can't move on.
I changed your mind. When we started, you were kind of like, you were a little on the fence, I think, when we started.
No, I was saying that his ROI puts him in a non-movie killer category. That's all I'm saying. Because I think he's done the numbers. But since 2022,
not good.
It hasn't been so terrific.
And with our Mendoza line and all the other metrics we gather, the money is just one factor, right? So he has a lot of other factors against him when it comes to movie ball that just, pretty much says, don't bet on this guy. And unfortunately, people still continue to bet on him, which is why.
But that's the wager, though. That's the wager.
Yeah.
January 1st, 2028. How much are we wagering?
I got to limit it, because if all of a sudden we take off and people start throwing a lot of money in that, I don't have Old Republic movie money. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do there.
We should put that. Is there a way that we can persuade? What's that betting platform?
Kalshi? Yeah. Ooh, we get Kalshi to somehow pick that up?
That would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should look into that. Can you look into that?
But then,
you don't make clips. You don't make clips. You don't post anything on YouTube. You literally show up at 8:28 on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Research Kalshi.
I feel like I've earned my paycheck.
I think we both have.
That's what I'm saying.
I think we are way overpaid for what we do.
That's what I'm saying. That would be interesting. How do you get something like that on that betting platform? And how do you monetize that? We can't, right? Or can we? No, right?
I don't know. I'd like to place some bets on our movie predictions. Like, can we bet whether the success of a movie or not? And then we can use that money as a metric.
There you go. There's got to be a way.
I'm going to check out Kalshi.
Yeah.
Yeah. You figure out how to get us on there.
Kalshi. And then, all right, I'm going to look that up as soon as we're done here.
Okay.
I will look. I am very curious now.
The other thing I got to figure out is, should we be streaming on Movie Killers Podcast? Because I keep streaming under my name. I think I got to switch this over to Movie Killers Podcast and get us off
100%. 100%.
Right? Get some more followers there. All right, folks. We're going to jump to the music because we are wrapping it up. James Gunn, target for the night. I think we proved our point. We're going to go January 1, 2028. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, And if you could spread the word, if you listen to the podcast, go to TikTok, give us a quick follow. We're almost there so we can start streaming. And that's when the big money starts rolling in. So we are.
Dude.
What?
I have an answer for you.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Should I hold on the music then? I'm holding on the music.
Yeah, for 60 seconds. So Kalshi works a little different than a traditional sports book. Instead of fixed odds, you buy or sell yes or no contracts on whether an event will happen. So each contract settles for $1 if correct, 0 if incorrect. So you create account, you fund the account, choose the. Wait, this is just.
But can I choose my own topic, or does it only topics that exist that I can buy yes or no's on?
I believe it's only topics that have already been approved and pre-existing. But
can I submit one?
That's what I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out.
All right,
go ahead.
All right.
Let's do our outro.
And then when we do Star Wars next week with our guest commentators, we will have an answer for you on Kalshi, and then our followers can go place bets on our topics. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. All right, folks. Appreciate the time tonight. Thursday night, we are wrapping it up. This will be posted on all your favorite streaming platforms later this week. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon, you name it, we are on it. We appreciate you listening. We always appreciate your support. And if you guys have hats out there, something you want us to put on the show, guys, believe it or not, we get a lot of streams on the podcast, just not so much live. So if you want us to promote something for you, we're happy to do it. So appreciate it. As always, I got Mark here, just, trying not to get his,
earning his salary. Earning his salary. That's what he's doing.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.